Anybody here ever been through a major trauma in their life? Okay. Anybody here have disaster strike and not, be prepared for it? I don't know how you prepare for it, but anybody ever have the world taken out from under them and all of a sudden they just don't feel like they're certain about anything anymore? That's where I was. And I was there at 21. It was the most profound impact in my entire life. And not only that, since I was so, I don't want to say disturbed, but since I was 21 and confused and I really didn't have a solid grounding of who I was underneath myself, my identity was tied to who I was. My value as a man was tied to who I was. My value as a person was tied to who I was, and then bam, in an instant it's all gone. And I'm laying there on the ground, I can't move from the waist down. And so what I started to tell myself in my head is, oh my God, it's over. It's over. I mean, I'm half a man. I'm not going to be able to function. I'll never be able to satisfy someone. I'll never be able to satisfy myself. Have anybody ever been to these places before? I mean, I went to some pretty bad places. And a lot of us, we become identified to things in our life. We become identified to our job. We become identified, as a leader. We become identified of how much money we make. We become identified by what our car is. We become identified to this stuff. You follow me here? Okay. So we've all been there. When I was in those moments there, and I literally started to feel myself shrinking. I could literally feel myself start to shrink. And then I woke up, and the pain was gone. And there was a moment, and I haven't found this moment again, but I literally experienced this. As I started to come out of this, I started to realize, look, yes, I am paralyzed, but I have no control over this. I have anybody ever in a situation with no control, and you feel like, what? What is it? It's like falling back in a chair and being stuck like that for days or weeks. I mean, you're totally off balance. But I was at peace with that. I found a part of myself that just said, this is okay. This is okay. And as soon as I accepted right where I was, not better than I was, because what I was telling myself is, there's technology out there, there's drugs, there's a surgery we can do, I can walk again, I know I can get better. But after the second day, my optimism kind of shot a little bit, and I really realized there's nothing happening down there. And then I'm watching my legs go from, football player legs to they start to shrivel and shrink because with no nerve supply, there was nothing to give nourishment to the muscle. So I'm watching myself shrink and deteriorate. So I got to that point, and all of a sudden I said, we just have to let this go. And I said it in my head. It wasn't me. It didn't come out of my voice. It came from a part of my brain that said, you have a choice to make here. You either need to find out exactly where you are in this moment and deal with it, or keep telling yourself some bullshit story that something's going to happen and somebody else's fault. One of those things, which one of these things is going to work for you? And the bullshit story worked for a couple days, and I realized it was just making me angry and wasn't coming out of that place. And then I just kind of settled into it, and I settled into it. I didn't have any place to go. I was stuck inside of this body. I realized, I literally started to connect with everything. I realized some judgments that I had, some preconceived notions that I've had, beliefs about people, beliefs about, all kinds of stuff. They just kind of fell to the side because I accepted everything in that moment for what it was. And it's a place that I think all of us should try to find, even if you're not paralyzed on a bed. But if you find yourself in those moments, you literally connect with everything. I connected with the goldfish on the counter, connected with the dog that was in the other room. All of a sudden I had relatives call from nowhere and they said, hey, I was just thinking about you. Relatives that I was kind of a jerk to. Once you drop that facade, you drop that shield that we put up. And we all have it. I'm not saying don't ever have that, but with yourself, you got to drop that. When you look in the mirror, you got to see who you are, what you stand for, what you believe in, and how much control you're going to take over what you do if you want to see change happen. Because change will not happen without you committing to it.